Senate Committee on State Affairs will come to order. The chair now lays out Senate Joint Resolution 27, SJR 27, and recognizes its author, Senator Huffman, to explain the measure.
Y'all do it. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Thank you very much for allowing me to lay out this bill at this time. Members, the State Commission on Judicial Conduct is the commission created to protect the public, promote public confidence in the integrity, independence, competence, and impartiality of the judiciary, and encourages judges to maintain high standards of conduct. Senate Joint Resolution 27, if approved by the Texas voters, would amend Article 5, Section 1A of our state constitution to adjust the makeup of the committee to increase the public membership. This change would enable Texans to have more input in the oversight of their elected representatives on the bench. The joint resolution would also remove the ability of the State Commission on Judicial Conduct to issue private sanctions. When a public official is sanctioned, it should not be shielded from the individual's constituents. Lastly, the joint resolution adjusts the authority of the Commission and Texas Supreme Court to more effectively sanction judges for judicial misconduct. These constitutional changes would ensure that the Commission maintains appropriate oversight while also increasing transparency. And members, of the committee, I do want you to know that there's still discussion on this bill. I would assume there would be some input from the public and others who have ideas. And I'm going to be listening. I would probably have a slight change on the Senate floor as we continue to refine the language, listening to members and the public. But I would ask that I could move the bill along at this point through the committee, and I'll work with all members to reach a good bill. But it's a good start here. But anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator Huffman. Members, any questions of our colleague, Senator Huffman, on the bill?
No, I don't. Unless anyone has a question, there's a resource witness, but not necessary unless there's questions.
Very good. Thank you. Well,
pardon?
should we let your substitute, or is that still being prepared?
No, I'm just going to, may have a floor substitute, but that's
Very good.
Maybe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open testimony on Senate Joint Resolution 27, and the chair calls Jennifer Lundy, Jay Dickens, Patrick Tudor, Robert Garza. Is that just 4? All right, welcome. We'll start over here on my left, your right. Introduce yourself. When you're on the end, especially get close to the microphone so we can hear you. And go ahead. Welcome.
Right. Thank you, Chairman Hughes and members of the committee. My name's Robert Garza. I'm in strong support of SJR 27, which promotes vital reforms to the SCJC. The amendment is not just necessary, it is urgent. It strengthens accountability, restores public trust in our judiciary. The fact that the SCJC sanctions judges in less than 1% of all complaints is deeply troubling, as it undermines public confidence in the judicial accountability and raises serious concerns about transparency and oversight. Such an exceedingly low sanction rate suggests either a systemic failure to take complaints seriously or inherent bias in favor of shielding judges from scrutiny, both which compromise the integrity of the judiciary. In any system that values the rule of law, credible allegations of judicial misconduct must be met with rigorous, impartial investigation and meaningful consequences, not dismissal by default. Under SJR 27, the Commission's new structure includes judges, attorneys, and 7 citizens, ensuring no single group holds undue influence. The balanced composition promotes diversity, independence, and fairness in judicial oversight. The amendment empowers the SCJC to issue public warnings, reprimands, and sanctions without the delay of full tribunal proceedings, while also authorizing the suspension of judges under indictment. These common sense tools that allow misconduct to be addressed swiftly and transparently. This is more than a procedural change. SJR 27 reaffirms our commitment to judicial integrity, transparency, and the public good. It fixes inefficiencies, protects due process, and ensures stability by allowing current members to serve until replaced. It is not a partisan issue. It's a matter of principle. No judge should be beyond accountability when the public sees that we hold judges to the highest ethical standards. Trust in this rule of law is strengthened. By supporting SJR 27, you are standing for fairness, you are standing for justice, and you are standing for the people of Texas. I respectfully urge your support. I'll put this out there right now. I'd like to be one of those citizens.
Thanks for your testimony. Thanks for being here. Welcome. Introduce yourself and give us your testimony.
Yes, Jay Dickens, in support of SJR 27. I'm an ex-drug agent, including South American service. When I was chasing drug smugglers, I wish someone had brought me the kind of evidence of the quality that I turned into the SCJC that they took no action on, no action at all. We need an SCJC that believes what I'm going to talk about here is wrong. You guys, I think, will be shocked. Here's some of the stuff SCJC didn't care about. A ward with a 2-year-old mentality had relatives borrowing, without court approval, $1.3 million from the ward's bank accounts. A bond was set at $120,000 with unbonded relatives signing 7-figure checks from the ward's bank accounts. State statute calls for the bond to match the asset. Should have been $20 million. Judge approved a $120,000 bond over and over again, knowingly. 2 judges refused to appoint an ad litem in the same case I was talking about there for years, despite all this wrongdoing. SCJC's fine with all this. Some other cases, I started digging around. I found this case, started digging around. All this is from public records. Ward wrote a letter to the judge requesting restoration of rights in 2017 with no court follow-through. This is in 2021. 4 years, a guy asked to restore his rights, no follow-through. Co-guardians have not visited protected person in 31 years. How many judges had to mess up for 31 years? SCJC, I told them about this, they don't care. Protected person under guardianship since 1994, whose only incapacity was her ability to lift heavy objects. Again, this is from government reports. This is reliable government reports with this info. In one case, I filed a complaint with the SCJC. The information I had at hand did not include the judge's name, so I explained to the SCJC, there's a ward in trouble. I don't have access to the judge's name. Here's the government office you can call to get the judge's name. And the SCJC turned down the complaint and says, you don't have the judge's name in there. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is. I'm dead serious. There's some ridiculous things going on, and the SCJC should care. They don't care. I'm serious.
And thank you for your testimony.
Sure.
Ms. Lundy, welcome. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm Jennifer Lundy, Executive Director for Texans for Judicial Accountability. I am for SJR 27. November 16th, 1992, the Special Court of Review was created unconstitutionally to provide a new review of decisions made by the State Commission on Judicial Conduct in response to complaints from 2 Texas Supreme Court justices that had been censured by the SCJC. That was pulled from an article called An Introduction to Texas' New Special Court of Review by Jim Paulson and someone else. The result of that has created what we have today, an SCJC that has very little, if any, trust. The SCJC should be somewhat feared by the judiciary, much like a health inspector at a restaurant. They should have audio and video access, or at the very least, free access to transcripts. The SCJC should be reviewing judges' actions to determine if there is a pattern of legal error or if a decision was motivated by an improper motive such as bias, revenge, or anger, disregarding procedural requirements, or violating fundamental rights. That is pulled from the Justice System Journal, Volume 28, Number 3. Yet they don't. In fact, they disregard legitimate complaints daily. We would actually like all complaints public, as one commission argues if the charges and hearing portion of a commission matter were open, the public would have a better understanding of the entire disciplinary process. So here we are, asking for multiple bills to be created to address these issues, and this is definitely one of them. A judge evaluating judicial conduct will not result in the full protection of Texas and the rights of Texas citizens. I recently spoke with one of the Supreme Court justices about this. He asked me, how can your average citizen know the law and what a judge should be doing? That's a fair question. I listed 3 of our public members that have served that I thought he would know and asked if they'd done a fair job. He said, yes, of course you need judges on the commission to help with the legal aspect of it, but I will tell you, what we have seen are not legal issues. They are downright crooked people who have improper motives. They are violating fundamental rights, and they are ruining the name of our good judges. The SCJC Commission is blatantly disregarding the fundamental rights of the people by denying them, and we need change.
And thank you for your testimony. Welcome. Introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. My name is Patrick Tudor. I'm here in support of SJR 27. I'm a combat veteran. I was a police officer for 8 years. I've seen combat and have awards for chasing bad guys down dark alleys, but nothing is as terrifying as entering a tyrannical court system where you have no rights and judges ignore the law. The foundation of a free country is to be considered innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof never leaves the state's table. I've been in family court for 3 years now with court orders that do not exist. Fundamental rights are ignored as a matter of habit and practice. I've been the recipient of 9 and counting false CPS reports, and no matter how many times I'm cleared, the judges ignore the laws, and my children are suffering. We've seen the destruction of the nuclear family in this country with judges at the helm. Attorneys donate to judges' campaigns, and judges ignore crimes committed by attorneys in their courts and commit crimes themselves. I've been jailed for court orders that do not exist. That's called kidnapping. For not being able to pay nearly $8,000 a month in child support and spousal support that the judge ignored the law on and didn't set according to AG rules. I was denied an attorney 4 times in jail. I had to file my own writ of habeas corpus. The judge altered the transcript and lost an entire hearing to cover his tracks. The regional judges and appellate courts ignore and downright refuse to answer the constitutional violations that are raised. Judges are protecting judges. When we complain about these crimes, the SCJC does nothing. In January, I removed my case to federal court for these civil rights violations. While filing paperwork with the federal court, I learned I'm on a federal watch list for petitioning my government for a redress of grievances. The Texas Constitution gives our representatives the power to impeach and remove judges that violate their oath of office. Our representatives have had numerous criminal complaints sent to them and are also not acknowledging those complaints. I fought for this country overseas only to come home and realize the biggest threat to our nation is the judiciary that is no longer operating within its constitutional restraints. We need oversight and accountability for the judiciary. We do not elect kings. Judges must obey the Constitution and the law, and we need you, our elected representatives, to hold them accountable to their oath. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Senator Perry, you have the
I just want to say hello to Jay Dickens, a fellow constituent in Senate District 28 and a strong advocate for good law, but adult probation specifically. And your initiatives are not lost. We will get around to hopefully moving some of those, but your problem has been what we're trying to solve with Senator Huffman's bill, so I appreciate it.
Senators, any other questions for these witnesses on the joint resolution? Thank you each for being here. Thank you for your testimony. Call Christopher Perricone, Tom Cam, Caitlin Ross, Kai Andrews. Again, we're looking for Christopher Perricone, Tom Cam, Caitlin Ross, Kai Andrews. All right, we'll begin on my left, your right. When you're ready, introduce yourself, give us your testimony.
Yes, sir. My name is Christopher Perricone. I am strongly in support of SJR 27. Many attorneys refer to the district family courts and courts in particular as the Wild West. I've lived that reality, but unlike the old Wild West where horse thieves were pursued by the law, and sometimes that was met with a rope, today it's the state, through these district court judges, committing the theft and robbing us parents of our God-given fundamental rights under the guise of law. And these rogue judges are not rare. This is epidemic in Texas. They abuse and manipulate the law and take children from loving parents, violating the Constitution and the clear Supreme Court precedent with absolutely no accountability. To put an exclamation point on it, there's been 27,000 reports since the SCJC was created in 1965. Y'all amended it in another Constitution in 1977, but the majority still stayed with judges watching over judges. Here in 2025, y'all have the opportunity to take the ability of judges to police themselves and allow the judiciary or the legislature to be a true check and balance upon these judges that are rogue. I've experienced this personally, and actually I have one more statistic I would say. Of the 27,000 complaints in 60 years, how many of those district judges have actually been reprimanded? Answer is 48, 60 years. I said it and talked at the SCJC, and I was appalled of what I heard because you wouldn't believe. If you sat in the courts, you would see the violations of our rights. And we need y'all as a legislature to stand up and protect our rights and our children. In my case, I was a mayor, a whistleblower with Ken Paxton, and my children I have not seen in 5 years. A judge has the ability to seal records illegally, shut everything down to where I can't even talk to my kids because I dared to pray with them, and he's going to deem it as family violence. We are begging that y'all will produce this oversight as the check and balance on the judiciary underneath your constitutional rights. If y'all don't do that, then only other remedy we have is to ask our reps to bring articles of impeachment against these judges who are rogue. Please help stop this tyranny. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Welcome. Introduce yourself and go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Kai Andrews, and I'm the founder of Children's Court, and I'm here today in support of SJR 27. I'm here first as a mother who has lived the devastating reality of unchecked judicial power, and as an advocate voice for those too afraid to speak because they've seen what this system does to people like me. Family court isn't broken, it's just abusive. It shatters family, bankrupts parents, traumatizes children, and silences those who dare to speak because there is no oversight and judges continue to abuse their discretion. The system rules through fear. Obey or risk losing your children or going to jail, even if it means handing them over to an abuser, and even when orders violate our most constitutional, fundamental rights and basic human decency. That's what happened to me in Bell County's 169th District Court. I filed judicial notices documenting my judge's violation of laws and codes. I gave her a chance to do the right thing and remedy the situation. Instead, she retaliated and refused to hear my motions, ignored evidence, and sentenced me to 6 months in jail, another violation of my rights. The Texas Supreme Court granted a writ of habeas corpus and released me. But the message was clear. I was being punished for standing up for our rights and for my daughter Eden, who is now the casualty of this war. Our children are the casualties. I filed a complaint with the SCJC, the agency that's supposed to stop this. What did they do? Nothing. No investigation, no accountability. And I know a dozen other parents who have faced just this same judge, the same retaliation, especially when the opposing attorney is her friend or a top campaign donor. And a 1% oversight that we've talked about is unacceptable. We've entrusted judges to protect families, but when they become the abusers, who protects us? Our only remedy, an appeal that takes possibly years, only to return to the same courtroom. The damage is done. That's why we need SJR 27, not as a suggestion, but as a line in the sand. This bill gives back power to the people to finally hold judges accountable for their abusive actions that destroy lives and harm children. My pain has led me to purpose. I founded Children's Court because I've seen enough. There is no family in family court, but we are building something better, a future where truth protects children, not power, and it can start with this bill. Pass SJR 27. The people are watching, we are rising, and we will not stop until this system belongs to the people again. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Welcome. Introduce yourself and go ahead.
Hi, thank y'all for having me here. My name is Caitlin Ross, and I am here in favor of SJR 27. I have seen firsthand how the systems meant to protect the citizens can fail. My daughter is only 6, and her nightmare began when she was 2.5 years old. It has not ended yet. Blunt force trauma, blackened ears, bite marks to her face, signs, symptoms, and outcries of strangulation and asphyxiation. And to quote the forensic nurse, over 40 injuries to every plane of her head and her body, consistent with child abuse. This describes just one incident that she has been through. And yet I am here fighting a wall of silence and inaction. The SCJC is supposed to hold judges accountable, but it doesn't. They sanction judges less than 1% of the time. My experience tells me that we need more regular people on that commission, and here's why. I can't trust a judiciary that protects itself. The unelected judge in my daughter's case has a long self-reported history with the attorney who represents those who hurt her. She sits assigned following the recusal of every sitting district judge in the county. Despite the evidence, expert testimony, and no cause being given, the judge denied protective orders, denied requests from DFPS for aid to investigates and search warrants, stonewalling investigative efforts, and a string of due process violations, while her abusers are granted primary custody. If more citizens sat on that commission, they'd push for real accountability and transparency. Our case reeks of influence. The judges, sheriff, DA, county attorney, and everyone tied to the court in Matagorda County is conflicted, disqualified, or recused. I believe tilting the power to the citizens could stare down that influence and dig into why my girl's safety was traded for someone's clout. I need that fearlessness when the system bends to the powerful instead of the truth. We need transparency. The SCJC is here to ensure that we, the people, have faith in our judiciary. That faith and trust wanes for many of us. Citizen appointees could help keep the panel honest, accountable, and transparent. My daughter's case is our nightmare. Abuse ignored, a judge who won't budge, a system that failed us at every turn. The SCJC, as it stands, feels too cozy with the people it's supposed to check. I want people based on their values. I want people with values like mine, picked by our elected governor, accountable to we the people, to bring heart, guts, and a voter's fire to the table. They'd fight for Charlotte when insiders won't, hold judges to account when power twists justice, and give me hope that Texas cares about our families. I'm asking for this change because I can't lose my daughter to a system that won't act. Please pass SJR 27.
Thank you for your testimony. Senators, any questions for any of our witnesses on this panel? Senator Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank each of you for your testimony, for being here. I'm very sorry for all you've experienced. And I know personally, I think this is a very important piece of legislation to put the balance of power properly where it needs to be. And I want to thank you for your courageousness, and thoughts and prayers are with your daughter and your family. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you each for being here. You're excused. The chair calls Tom Cam. Mr. Cam is the last witness we have registered to testify on, for or against Senate Joint Resolution 27. Is there anyone else present wishing to testify on, for or against Senate Joint Resolution 827? Seeing and hearing none, public testimony is closed, and the bill is left pending at this time. Thank you, Madam Chair.